guys, it's Mrs. B again. Okay, so far in class we have been talking about monohybrid crosses, and we have been talking about incomplete dominance and codominance, and we even talked about multiple alleles, like when it comes to blood types. Well, now we're going to start looking at two traits at the same time. So for instance, if you see this little picture right here, this is a color blindness test, so maybe you can see the 5 in there, in which case you're not colorblind, or tongue rolling over here. So here's a tongue roller, and here is a non-tongue roller. So in dihybrid crosses, we're going to look at two traits at the same time. So our Punnett squares aren't just going to have 4 squares, they're going to have 16 squares. Okay. We have to learn how to move the gametes around whenever we do the 16 square ones, because whenever we go through meiosis, remember it's just a random chance as to which genes you get from mom and which genes you get from dad. You could get this yellow gene from mom and this green gene from dad, or vice versa. You could get this big S or you could get this little s. So the law of independent assortment just basically says it's just kind of random. You get what you get from mom and dad. Okay, so of course I had to come up with some cute little example here. So purple giraffes. This is for you ladies, because whenever we talk about mutations, I'm going to be talking about superheroes a lot. So we're going to go with purple giraffes so that you'll pay attention during this part. Alright, so let's just pretend that in giraffes, the coat color of purple is going to be dominant. But this guy is heterozygous for purple. And this little lady over here, let's pretend that little p is pink. Okay, so if you have a big P, you're purple. If you only have little p's, you're pink. Well, let's look at the spots over here. Okay, so I also have these colored spots. Let's say that this purpley color, this light lavender, let's say that's recessive. So I'm going to say little s for spot, little s for spots. And this lady over here who has the yellow, she can have a big S for her spots and a little s for her spots. Okay, so now I'm looking at, instead of just a genotype where I have 2 letters, now I have a genotype where I have 4 letters. So before you put them into a Punnett square, you really have to kind of mix them up, and I will show you how to do that on the next one. Okay, so here I have my daddy giraffe and my mommy giraffe, and we're going to make some baby giraffes here. So, daddy was big P, little s, little s. Okay. The way that this works is it's kind of like foiling in algebra. You have to distribute. Or if you think of it like the P's are boys and the S's are girls at a dance, and all the boys have to dance with all the girls. So this P has to pair up with this little s. And this P has to pair up with the other little s. Now it's the little p's turn. So this little p has to pair up with that little s. And that little p has to pair up with that little s too. Okay, now for mommy giraffe. Mommy giraffe was little p, big S, little s. So this little p pairs with the big S, and the little p pairs with the small s, and then little p big S, and little p little s. Okay, so that's how I do my gametes. Now I fill in my squares, just like I always do. So big P pairs with a little p, and my big S pairs with my little s. So I want you to push pause, and I want you to finish filling in the rest of this 16 square Punnett square while I wait for you. Okay, go. Push pause. Okay, so while you were filling that in, I went ahead and typed it in so that you wouldn't have to look at my horrible handwriting on this mouse. Okay, so if I look at this individual right here, this little baby giraffe, this baby giraffe has a big P, so it would be purple like its dad, and it has a big S, so it would have yellow spots like mom. So if you look at any of these, anything that has a big P, big P, big P, big P, oops, big P, big P, big P, all of these guys are going to have their daddy's purple coat. And anything that has a big S, big S, big S, big S, big S, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, and this guy. Okay, all of those are going to have mommy's yellow spots. But if they have only little p's, little p, then they're going to be pink like mama, little p's, little p's, little p's, little p's, little p's, pink like mama. And then if they have only little s's, they're going to have pink spots like dad. So if you look at this one over here, this would be a pink giraffe with pink spots because it's all recessive. Okay, so if you look at this is another example of a dihybrid cross. Oh, and look at the little creatures. Their eyes even move. That's just too cute. All right, so if you look at this, you should be able to figure out what's a dominant trait and what's a recessive trait. So if I look at this weird little alien guy right here, he's big E, big E. Big T would be his genotype. So he's all dominant. So that would say that our green triangle is a dominant trait, and having two eyeballs is also a dominant trait. Okay, so we're going to say that the T stands for the triangle, and the E stands for the eyes. So two eyes, dominant, triangle body, also dominant. So that means our recessive in here, see how that's a little t and a little t? So my pink pentagon would be the recessive when it comes to the T's. And then if you look at everything that has little e's, see like, lost my mouse. Oh, here it is. Okay. Little e, little e, little e, one eyeball. Little e, one eyeball. Little e, one eyeball. Now this guy right here is only little e's and only little t's. So that means that he or she is homozygous recessive for absolutely everything. And you're going to see over here this ratio, the 9, 3, 3, 1. Now here's just a little cheat sheet. Anytime you come across a dihybrid cross and mom and dad, each of them are heterozygous for both traits, you're always going to end up with 9, 3, 3, 1. And on the next slide, I'm going to give you another example because I know you're thinking, I didn't quite get that. This is okay. Okay, so here's my next example. So these are two peas, pea plants that are being crossed together. What? Plants have gametes? Oh, yes, they do. That is what pollen is. So it's about allergy season. Yes, that is plant sperm. All right, so when we have two plants that have heterozygous genes. So heterozygous, remember hetero means different. So if I'm looking up here, I have big R, big Y, little y. So see, F1 cross, that just means first family. So my capital R is going to be the round shape. So anything that has a capital R is going to have a round shape. anything that has a capital Y is going to be yellow. So wrinkly shape is going to be recessive, and green color is also going to be recessive. So we're looking at two things at the same time, so this means this is a dihybrid cross. So just like we did with our purple giraffes, I have a capital R and a capital Y. That's what this is. I have a capital R and a little y. That's what this is. Little r, big Y, see? Little r, little y, right there. So, heterozygous for both traits. This parent is also heterozygous for both traits, so I do the exact same thing. I have capital R, capital Y, right here. Capital R, little y, right here. Now it's little r's turn. Little r, big Y, little r, little y. All right, so this little seed right here is all dominant. So all dominant traits, so that's yellow and that's round. Yellow and round, yellow and round, yellow and round. Now I bet if I happen to count these up, I'm going to have 9 yellow round ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, look how that looked out. That worked out. Okay, now for my round green ones. Remember, the genotypic ratio that we were going to get was 9, 3, 3, 1. So I bet I have 3 of the round green ones. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I do. How about wrinkled and yellow? 1, 2, 3. And then my wrinkled green one is only 1. So we have that 9, 3, 3, 1 ratio again. Okay, the next slide is going to be practice for you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is your cross that involves 2 traits. In rabbits, gray hair is dominant to white hair. Also in rabbits, black eyes are dominant to red eyes. So you are crossing 2 traits at the same time, 16 squares, and please answer the questions that are on the slide and take a moment just to appreciate how absolutely adorable this cute little bunny is. Okay, push pause if you need to. I will see you tomorrow.